live, and we're live here at the South Florida Business Today show, and your favorite Wall Street network station. And obviously, we come to you from the tips of the Keys all the way to Palm Beach County. For those of you who would like to get a better listening text, then go to our website, which is www.880thebiz.com. You'll see a button there on the right-hand side that says Listen Live. Push that button, and you'll be able to listen to us much better than any of the old-fashioned AM radios, which if you're in a car right now is probably screaming so loud that it sounds like your kids after you told them they can't watch Jurassic Park. Anyway, today is the 1st of October, and we are here with your favorite segment, which is the lovely and talented Art Talk and lovely and talented Susana Baker. Susana, take it away.
Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Art Talk listeners and the South Florida Business Today show listeners. We love Tuesday mornings, bringing you all the art happenings from the canvas to the red carpet. And I am really excited and delighted to have just an unbelievable pioneer. He was awarded the prestigious honor of the Urban Land Institute prestigious 2011 Young Leader of the Year. And I have to tell you, this company, Metro One Properties, and I'm sure whoever has driven through the streets of Miami or Miami Beach, mostly Miami, downtown Miami, Wynwood, all the urban core of Miami, you will see that big sign, which is an M for Metro, and it's half gray and half a light line, and you can't miss it because Mr. Tony Cho, who's the CEO and president, I'm very honored and happy that you're here in the show. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Susana. Thanks for having me. It's a privilege.
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, I have to tell you, I've been part of Miami. I came from New York City in 1989, and I saw the resurgence and was part of that to witness it in South Beach. And we know that the visionaries there that came from South Beach over looking for warehouses were part of the pivoting years of turning around the urban core of these deep-plighted neighborhoods like the Design District, one of East to East, West, and Wynwood. And I have to tell you, you right away, I believe, from seeing a little bit of your history, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, you made Wynwood a focus point, even though you have sold for the last decade hundreds of millions of dollars in properties. Metro One specializes in residential and commercial and leasing and property management, and you've actually bought and you know, manage your own properties. So with that said, I believe that I would love to know what made you Wynwood your home.
Oh, it's a long story, a great story. I was actually involved in South Beach in the heyday and the nightlife era of the 90s when Tony Goldman and Craig Robbins had, you know, been visionaries of the Art Deco movement and the preservation movement of those special buildings on Ocean Drive and South Beach in general. And that was a special place, a special moment in time. And, you know, that's always going to have a special place in our heart in South Florida and around the world. And there was a lot of elements that went into that. And I think part of my attraction to Wynwood and the urban core was the grittiness of it and the location of it and these mid-century warehouses that were neglected and dilapidated. And I just saw something very special in it. And organically, because of location and because of pricing and because of things, you know, people moving and getting displaced from more expensive areas like Coral Gables and South Beach, Aventura, etc., people started to identify these areas as something special and unique, and there was an underground appeal to it. And from the beginning, I always felt like this area had something special. And it's not something that happens just because you believe it's going to happen or you have the vision. You have to roll up your sleeves and work at it to make it happen and promote it and create it, envision it. And, you know, I feel the same specialness and uniqueness happening in Wynwood and Little River and the Design District and the urban core in general as I felt in South Beach when I was part of that era. This is very different. This is more creative and art focused, you know, design oriented as well. And now we have this wonderful fashion explosion happening in the Design District. So all of these elements are coming together.
You're absolutely correct, Tony, because, you know, South Beach was really exciting to see that and witness that. I got there in '89, and I worked on 11th and Ocean Drive, Deco Realty. My husband was a doctor. That's why we came from New York City. He got a position in Jackson. To make a long story short, I worked with an old Jewish man called Leroy Goldstein in Deco Drive Realty, or Deco Realty actually. And I saw a lot, you know, we were part of it. Later on, I owned South Beach Realty. And so we know how exciting that was. But it wasn't the same as what you're doing with Wynwood, because you had that beautiful beach. And that beach is a, you know, calling card, a selling card by itself. The beautiful Art Deco buildings that Barbara Kapperman took to heart, and everything else that was there. It was, yeah, there were obstacles, because people would say, when Tony Goldman called Eileen Ford, she said, "Are you crazy? You want me to bring my models down there to shoot?" Well, the rest was history. You know, she did listen to Tony, and, you know, they shot that Italian Vogue swimwear, and everybody wanted to know where Eileen went. Did she go to St. Bart's? Did she? And when people found out that it was Miami Beach, later on coined South Beach, we had about 10 modeling agencies in less than 6 months. And when there's beautiful women, men follow, right? And men with lots of money, right? So with that said, I have to tell you, coming to Wynwood and seeing it, and I have been, the core of my business is the art tours, and we have been walking the pavement with 4 people, 6 people, 100 people, going from 20 tours a month now to 300 a month. And we have seen in the last 4 years, from the company I own, which is the Art Experience, we have seen what's happened in Wynwood. And I have documented your growth in the last 4 years of me walking the streets. I mean, from the historic corner of Northwest 2nd and 29th Street, the new Ducati. That's amazing.
It's exciting.
I mean, it's really exciting. Tell us, how did and I believe you went to Northwestern University in Chicago. Was Chicago your hometown?
No, I was born in Vero Beach, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And born and raised Floridian. My family came down on a vacation. I'm adopted by my grandmother,
Okay.
who remarried a Korean martial art master who had a studio in Miami, in South Miami, across from the Falls in the 80s, actually late 70s and through the 80s and 90s. And that's how I got the name Tony Cho.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And I went to school at Northwestern in 1996, and I was miserable. The weather was awful. You know, it was not as diverse and as an open-minded experience as I thought it would be. And I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, which is very common and normal for young people going to college. And so what I decided to do was come to Miami, take a little bit of a break. And during that break, I was offered an internship at MTV Latino on Lincoln Road. And that experience led me to do an exchange program in Argentina through Northwestern. And so I lived in Argentina in 1998, which was an incredible time. Menem was president. The dollar and the peso were 1-to-1. And it was a special time in Argentina. After 6 months, I decided that this is where I wanted to be. This is what I wanted to do. I learned Spanish. I had an incredibly impacting experience, and I called my mom and I said, "Mom, I'm not going back to university. I'm moving to Argentina, and I got an apartment." And she said, "I don't think so." So
it's hard for a mother to let go.
So you know, and I was raised vegetarian. Of course, in Argentina they have the best beef in the world. So I started sampling all kinds of worldly pleasures, and had made the decision to move to Argentina. I got my own apartment with some other students, and she said, "Okay, well, if that's what you want to do, I'm cutting you off," which was the best thing that she ever did. And I said, "All right, well, I'm going to figure it out." And the next day I got hired at this place called Bar Danzón, which was like the most happening lounge nightclub in Argentina. And that was kind of how I started my life, you know, as myself as an individual. And so I had this incredible nightlife experience, made incredible contacts, traveled all over South America, Brazil, Chile, Uruguay, Punta del Este, and, you know, I was a teenager. So extremely impactful. And I came back in the fall of 1998 and didn't know what I was going to do. And so I got hired at a nightclub being a promoter at Tantra in South Beach.
Oh, wow.
So I did that for a while, and that was a great time in the nightlife and hospitality industry. I traveled around the world, got to go to all the film festivals and
Nice,
great events.
nice.
And more importantly, I built up a book of contacts and business, and decided to get into real estate. I knew that that era was not going to last forever, and I needed something more stable. And so I got my real estate license, and the first property I sold was an apartment on Fisher Island, because I knew a lot of high rollers
Sure.
and celebrities, and quickly realized that I didn't really have it in me, the passion to be a real estate agent in the traditional sense of the word and just tour guiding people. And quickly identified, an area and a niche and, this urban revitalization business and passion, and started to buy properties and renovate properties. And I bought an apartment for $66,000 in Bayshore with private money that I had borrowed, with $9,000 I had saved from the club. And a year later, I sold it for $180,000.
Nice, sweet. Now, I have to tell you, when you've been in Wynwood, Metro One started in Wynwood, like how many years ago? 10 years ago? 9 years ago?
It'll be 8. Our anniversary will be actually this month, October, 8 years.
8 years.
But I started in the area selling real estate and investing in 2000, 2001.
2000. Okay,
Yeah.
so now 8 years. You open up shop. You have a few realtors. Now you're almost 50 or plus in realtors.
Mhm.
You've expanded from residential to commercial.
No, we started in commercial, and we've expanded
Into
into residential. Yeah,
Awesome.
we're launching our first residential project, which is called the Filling Station, which is just south of Wynwood, basically in the Omni Edgewater area in the entertainment district.
That big building that is
Yep.
brick-like, looks
Mhm.
like New York. Have
Yep.
you ever seen New York Soho building?
Lofts, fabulous lofts with high ceilings, spectacular views, great location. You can walk to the bay from there. You can walk to Wynwood.
It's awesome.
81 lofts. We have some retail on the ground floor, and we're super excited to launch that. We also brokered the deal for the investment group that bought it, and that's finishing it up, and they're doing a terrific job.
Because
So-
that's been on a standstill for a long time, and so now this is a new owner, new management,
Right.
and new horizons for this property. I
And-
love it
and for the area as well.
for
There's
the
so-
area for sure.
So much going on there. So, we're completing our first development, which is the Wynwood Gateway building, which is on that iconic corner at the corner of 29th Street and Northwest 2nd. Phase 1 is now completed, which was a mega renovation of an existing 1930s building that was in terrible condition. We signed, and we're excited that we signed Ducati as our anchor tenant. We'll
That's
probably
awesome.
have 2 or 3 more tenants. And we're about to launch phase 2, which is going to be the renovation of another building adjacent to that. And then we have a stage 3 that's planned that I can't talk about.
Well,
But
can I ask you a question? Aren't you the one that has assemblage 20 acres in Wynwood?
we were involved with a group out of New York, and we were the broker that quietly assembled actually almost 25 acres
Wow.
in Wynwood. So
I like that quietly.
well, they had very good timing, and we started with the brokering the deal of the free trade zone, which was in litigation and bankruptcy for a long time, and it was a really exciting time. It was 2009 when things were really hitting rock bottom, in the real estate market, and there was a lot of interesting things going on, a lot of opportunity, a lot of wealth created. And we were excited to be part of that. And we're involved in several other really interesting assemblages that will hopefully translate into what we believe will be major contributions to urban core revitalization, sustainability, mixed use, infill. And that's kind of our vision that we have been promoting since the beginning, and that's my vision and my dream. The world is urbanizing. So what's happening in Miami is happening around the world in all major cities, in Detroit, in Brooklyn, Philadelphia. All major metropolitan areas are urbanizing, and people are realizing how valuable geographically the urban core is and how valuable that dirt is. And we've got to figure out a way as people migrate from the suburbs in rural areas into cities, because they want that walkable lifestyle. They want to be able to go to their store, visit their friends, work, play, live in the same area, have green space. We have to be smart in how we develop and how we plan these cities. And so the concept behind Metro One is being the first and forward-thinking company in metropolitan settings, in urban settings, in
Right.
cities. And the concept we hope to bring to other cities, we've been invited and asked to open up other offices. But frankly, Miami is so exciting and keeping me so busy that it's hard to...
We don't want to lose you, that's for sure. Especially that I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say Wynwood is at a 1. I know that this quiet assemblage, once that unveils, will bring it to maybe a 5, but there's so much potential. You know, I left South Beach in 1994 after I sold Johnny Versace's home. And I left it because I wanted to have babies. And I just thought that I'd retire and, you know, we found out soon I couldn't do that. But I did spend time with my children, and then the rest was, I saw how what I thought was, okay, I did enough, let me leave. I just, you know, everything took off, you know, from 95 on all the way till still now. There's still stuff, and major projects in South Beach. It's not going anywhere. Same thing with Wynwood. I mean, what you started and what you will continue is a legacy of other, you know, companies. It's like when we did this art tour 4 years ago, we decided to bring locals and tourists out of the 12 million tourists that visit Florida. We knew that there was one thing that Lombardi and Robbins, you know, with the second Saturdays, it was more for locals. We knew that we needed the concierge to work with us.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2009, when we launched the Design District Midtown and Wynwood Experience at the Moore Building, we had 400 concierges that didn't even know this existed. And even till today, you have concierges that send people to Dayland and to Aventura Mall when there's shops in Midtown right across the bridge. So there's still a lot of education. There's still a lot of information there to some of our key tourism and hospitality partners. And I think what you've been doing is amazing. I've seen you just from picking your name was phenomenal. Metro, you know, I thought that was a great name. I remember when I first started to see the signs up in Wynwood towards the towards some of the buildings, the commercial 1 stories, 2 stories, with no real, you know, Wynwood again doesn't have that architectural characteristics like Art Deco.
Right.
And it's mostly these 1 stories, very bland, but with visionaries and pioneers like the Goldmans, like the Lombardi and the Cho, it is really making the urban core that deployed once Wynwood a real epic center of arts and just wonderful on the edge. I've done, like I said, Art Basel, and I do the Art Anchor Fairs. And the first year that I did the VIP Art Basel, I had many people wanting to go to the convention center, so I got that. But then the second year, a lot of people would go one day and want to spend 3 or 4 days at the Miami Art Fairs, which is in Wynwood and Midtown. And after that, I don't even do Art Basel, you know, Touche, Robert Goodman, and everybody in Art Basel, but I've stuck to the more edgier shows, which is without a doubt Wynwood. I mean, you know, and to see 75,000 people pour on our streets for 4 days, I knew we could create that every day. So we reached out to those concierges and partnered with those tourists and all those people. And on a daily basis, like I said, we have grown making that same niche with the urban core as a tour guide. We call them tour raiders because we're curators, we're educated in the arts, and then we're tour guides, so we're tour raiders. And with that said, we love seeing what Metro One has done. I mean, I want to ask you 2 questions. One is, when did you feel in your heart, what was the project or what was the signing of the contract that said, you know what, everything I invested, all my visions, all my sweat, all the time walking through here when there were roosters and all this stuff and it was gritty, when did you say, I am on the right track, thank you, thank you, Lord, or whatever, power, but thank you. What was that?
Well, I went through many hard times, specifically in the beginning, because the market really started to turn in 2006, 2007, 2008, and I had just opened this big office and expected sales to fly in, and people thought I was crazy to be in this desolate warehouse in the middle of nowhere. And there were a lot of moments where I questioned, if there was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I always believed, I never lost faith in terms of the right location and the right mission and the right vision of shaping neighborhoods and making a positive contribution. and bringing things and curating neighborhoods, which is essentially like what we do. But there were certainly very stressful, difficult moments when I had to really do some soul searching and see, when is this going to turn? And, it took quite some time to really build up an infrastructure and a business model that worked. I mean, initially there were no sales. Initially we basically helped people downsize their businesses because they were stressed out and they needed to generate some income. And so we built it on this, helping small to medium-sized businesses downsize, relocate, and strategize. And those small businesses that we helped, when the market turned, grew and became our referral sources and then bought businesses. And I think we've completed more than 500 or 600 leases of small to mid-sized creative class type businesses.
That's awesome.
So we've helped really shape and build these neighborhoods. And Wynwood is fabulous, but it's really just the beginning. You haven't
Yes.
seen anything yet.
Yes, that's
so
right.
much more to come. Hotels and restaurants and bars and more galleries and museums, we hope, and a lot of exciting things. But all throughout the urban core, we're seeing this renaissance happening of arts and culture and fashion. And what's beautiful about it is that they all will eventually connect. And one of the things we need to focus on is transportation. Connecting these neighborhoods, making them more walkable so they all can have their unique individuality. And that's what a city is.
I tip my hat to you. I commend you for your excellent work along with your staff at Metro One. If somebody wanted to know more about you, where would they go? Tell them your website, your phone number.
Metro1.com, and we're going to be launching a new website shortly, which we're very excited about. But if you go there, it's the number one.com. Our office number is 305-571-9991, and we look forward to helping you and help shape and build new neighborhoods.
Well, we look forward to you doing exactly what you've been doing. God bless you. Continue with your vision because you are really empowering our neighborhoods, creating more jobs, creating more excitement, and letting the world know it's not just nightlife and beach.
That's right.
Okay, so I thank you, Metro One, Tony Cho, CEO and President. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you, Susana. I appreciate it.